Chapter 19. Parker Elias. Grams has a lot of life experience, being super old and all that. For example, she tells me that when she first dated my grandfather back in Israel, there was this other girl who was trying to steal him away while Grams was doing her military service in Haifa. So Grams challenged this girl to an arm wrestling match, and the prize was Grandpa. I peer over at her in the passenger seat of the pickup. What if you lost? I was loading truck supplies, kiddo. I was strong as an ox. As much as I love Grams, I'm not sure I believe the story. The last time she explained how to get rid of a girl who moved in on Grandpa, she said she backed over her Vespa with a Jeep. Grams tells the same stories because she doesn't remember telling them the last time and the time before that. Some people might find that annoying. To me, it just means that we've got something new and interesting to talk about while I'm driving her around. I just wish that she could remember my name. The reason the subject comes up, dating and boyfriends, I mean, is that there's a rumor that Miss Fountain and Jake Terranova are going out. Our class thinks this because Jake has kind of adopted SCS 8. Jake, that's what he told us everyone to call him. Oh my gosh. Even the employees at the dealership call him Mr. Terranova, but to us, he's Jake, except Ribbit. He always uses Mr. when he talks to Jake, which is almost never. Jake may be hitting it off with Miss Fountain, but he's not getting very far with Mr. Kermit. Here's how it usually goes down. Jake shows up at room 117. Thank you, Tristan, for hitting that work in. To invite us to Terranova Motors, the mechanics can show us how the windshield wipers work or how battery supplies power to the starter. He has to come in person because Mr. Kermit's phone is so old that it would probably explode if it ever received a text. Meanwhile, Miss Fountain randomly walks in from 115. Oh, what a surprise! Mr. Terranova's here! She calls him Mr. Terranova too. We're not fooled. He calls her Emma. From there, something always happens to connect our two classes. Maybe Vladimir starts squeaking because he can hear Aldo's voice and won't shut up until Aldo goes over there. Or the 7th graders are just about to have circle time, and we get in on that. Jake loves circle time, and whenever it's his turn to compliment someone, he always picks Miss Fountain. Mateo was confused. I thought Jake chose us because he wanted to make up for the cheating scandal, not because of Miss Fountain. That's just his excuse, Barnstorm puts in wisely. Do you think it's the car? I muse. Jake rolls this really snazzy Porsche convertible that's got to be a lot of fun to drive. Of course it's not the car, Kiana retorts angrily. Miss Fountain isn't that kind of person. She wants a relationship. I don't understand how Kiana can know things like that, but whatever the reason. Life is definitely better since Jake started hanging around. Everybody loves him, even Aldo, and Aldo hates everybody. Jake's more like another kid than an adult, but a kid who has a dream life with tons of money and no adults telling him what to do. He talks to me about cars, to Barnstorm about sports, and to Mateo about the Game of Thrones. He talks to Elaine. I guess car dealers don't worry about being headbutted down the stairs or tossed into a garbage dumpster. He talks to Kiana about practically everything. He asks for Raheem's opinion on the art for the new ads for Terranova Motors, and Raheem never so much as yawns when he's around. The only person Jake can't schmooze is Mr. Kermit. Our teacher isn't quite mean to him. Most of the time, he just ignores Jake the way he used to ignore us. When Mr. Kermit's old car breaks down, he has it towed all the way across town, even though Jake offers to fix it for free. Ribbit would rather pay a lot of money than accept a favor from his old enemy. Whatever the reason, Jake has started hanging around. The trips to Terranova Motors are amazing. At first, the service staff aren't too thrilled to see Elaine because of what happened the last time with the cookie. But then the compressor for the pneumatic system conks out, and Elaine is the only one who can loosen a strip bolt using a hand wrench. All the mechanics stop what they're doing and applaud. Kid, that was something, the service chief explains admiringly. If the lift system loses power, can we count on you to pick up cars over your shoulders? It's the first time I've ever seen Elaine blush. I'll bet the kid she headbutted down the stairs wouldn't think it's so funny that an 8th grader girl is stronger than a shop full of adult mechanics. At first, the mechanics just talk a lot and they show us stuff, but pretty soon we're doing real work. Jake guides my hand as I fit a new hose onto the radiator of a Jeep Cherokee. As I set the ring to seal the connection, it feels right. Somehow I know that the hose isn't going to leak. The boss reaches in and tests my handiwork. Perfect! Not so tight that the rubber might split. Nice job, Parker. It's weird. I open a book and the letters are all jumbled together in unbreakable code, but I look at a car engine and it makes sense. Even if the tires say, Ready Goo, that's supposed to say Goodyear. Mr. Kermit is watching me. He's almost smiling. I think I can count on a puffy tail being added to my line of the chart today. Terra Nova Motors isn't the only place we're doing real work. It's happening in room 1172. Mr. Kermit is teaching stuff, math, science, English. We have our first test of the year, social studies, and Mr. Kermit even grades it. When we get to class the next day, our papers are face down on our desk. He flips it over. D. Ribbit never gave tests before, and now he's throwing D's around? Barnstorm laughs in his face. It isn't Ribbit's fault that you're stupid. He examines his own paper with the word incomplete written across the top. What? He complains. At least I got a grade, Aldo tells him. I miss old Ribbit, Barnstorm complains. Yeah, Aldo agrees. This is way too much like education. I get an incomplete too, mostly because I finished only 7 of the 27 questions. But I blink 7 check marks parade down the page, which means whatever I did, I aced. I still got an incomplete, but not incomplete dumb, just incomplete slow. It stinks to fail, whatever the reason, but I disagree with Aldo and Barnstorm that our class was better before. We'll be in high school next year. Will they have a SES 9 for us, followed by SES 10, SES 11, SES 12? And then what? Sooner or later, if something has to change, it might as well start now. As I take my seat, I catch a glimpse of the test paper on Elaine's desk. I shake my head. I must be reading this wrong. That's what I do. On the other hand, how can you scramble a single letter? If I didn't know any better, I'd swear Elaine rhymes with pain. Just pulled an A. Stay tuned for the next one.